Probably not.
But the female would have to know who she sleeps with.
So suppose a 3 or 4 months.
She no must know.
Well,
Exactly.
I guess she had to call John, Peter, maybe Paul, or whosoever.
Carl Murray. But
Carl Murray, you are
Chris
not the father.
Chris, back to your point. What were you saying? And then we'll take snipes.
And Chad.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Brian. I just have one. This is like an afterthought when I'm listening to you men talking about the rule. All right. So I understand this to help you all to assist the men better in these legal cases. Yeah. What about the mental health of the child who finds out 18 years later that, oh, I was done a paternity test on because my parents weren't sure, they were fighting for my custody. How do we deal with the child's mental health after 18 years? Maybe it comes as a shock that, oh, I had to go through a DNA test to make sure my father or my mother are at peace. That's my question. Yes, Brian, you have your hand.
All right, Chris. Let's look at it like this now. If you do a test on let's say a newborn, right? And if they do find out that later, well, hey, my parents did a mental paternity test on me, and it turned out that my parents are my parents, or my dad is my dad.
Yeah.
That mental strain would not be as much as if 18 years down the line, that child and that man both find out that, hey, I'm not your dad. Because I know of a personal case where, well, two actually, and it comes down to people living in the States trying to file for their children. And upon doing that paternity test, it came out that, hey, this is not your child, right? That mental stress on the child and on the father, or apparent father at the time, is way more than doing it from earlier. So if it's a lesser of two evils, Chris, I would go with, you know what I mean?
I agree, but Brian, what I'm saying, sorry to cut you short. It's just that.
No, you're fine.
When the child is 18, the child is an adult. You can still have the child's consent, right? When the child is newborn, you can't take that child's consent. You're basically taking a test without that individual's consent. So there's this question of consent also. A newborn doesn't have a say, right? But
That is true. That is
they
true.
have a say. What about that? So I'm not just limiting this to the man or the woman. Even if a woman is doing a maternity test or whatever, to pacify your own doubt that, oh, I need to peace myself that I'm the father or the mother. You innocent infant going through a test without his or her consent. How is that taken care of?
Well,
I
say,
those are great points.
Go ahead.
Great points.
But they said, as a child, as a parent, you're responsible for your child, right? And you're responsible for the decisions your child makes, right? No, you don't ask the child consent to what school to send them to or what pediatrician to take them to. You look out for the best interest of your child. So doing this paternity test or this DNA test could also be viewed as you looking out for the best interest of your child.
Only when Brian that is asked that, do you want to do it? We always ask the children, do you want to eat the candy? Gone are those days, Brian, when we just force the candy into the child's mouth and you're going to eat it. Now we have to take permission that, will you be eating this candy? And this is a test. It changes the entire dynamic of not just the father and the child, but the child and the household. So in my opinion, I could be wrong to all of you. In my opinion, there's this consent of the child, whether it be an adolescent or infant or a toddler, that should be also taken into consideration. Because that's on the entire equation.
Point taken. Let's hear what Chad have to say. Chad.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You hear me clearly?
Yes, man.
All right. So I'm leaning more to what I think Brian was saying in terms of choosing the lesser evil. But at the same time, as the young lady said, you have to take into consideration that you, the parent, making the decision, you have to take into consideration what the child would have wanted. But to me, I believe it will come down to ultimately choosing the lesser evil, because either way you take it, doing the paternity test at that tender age and finding out, whether or not that person's a father, or doing it at a later state, as I said, when the child is allowed at 18, the repercussions might be similar. But then you'd have to ask yourself, which would carry the lesser strain on the child in question. And I believe, learning at an earlier age, well, before the child, can make a decision or to understand what's happening, I believe it would have been better to do the DNA test at an earlier age. And let's say, for instance, the man in question is not the child's father, then there wouldn't be an 18-year span of building a relationship with the child. And then at the end of the day, you realize, oh no, this child is not really my biological child. And you have already formed a relationship. So in essence, it's as if you would be then wiping out, the 18 years of the child's life, because technically it would be a false relationship, because the man is not the biological father. So when you go ahead now and do the test at 18, there's the problem of, you're saying, oh, for the 18 years, then I've been building a relationship with someone who's not really my father, as opposed to doing the test at an earlier age. And in the event that the child is not, does not belong to the father, then both parents can make a decision and say, all right, then this is the case, what will we do? And then it will be up to the male to say, all right, then I will remain in the child's life until the child reaches a certain age of understanding. Then I can explain to say to the child, well, this is the situation. And then no, the child would have a decision in the matter to say, all right, then I'm okay with this, or mommy, we need to find my real father and we start a relationship with the father. I believe that is my view.
Chad, I fully agree with you. I'm fully there with you. That's how I believe as well.
Okay,
yeah, go ahead,
okay,
Ryan.
Ryan, before you jump in, Chris, we'll have our final talk before she leaves. So Chris, you're up.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. This was super interesting, but there's this work laptop which is calling me. So apologies for that. I will stick to what I said earlier. The child's consent to me is important. The child's consent has to be taken into consideration before the child is subjected to any kind of testing. That would be my final line of thought. And thank you all for having me.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
You're welcome, Chris. Take care.
All right, Chris. Ryan, go ahead.
All right, before Ryan said anything, there are no officially 6 of us in the room, and the stats said 1 out of every 5. So just saying, continue, Ryan.
Oh my.
I mean,
all right. Chris's point is valid, because I want to talk on Chris's point and then Chad's point.
Sure.
It is valid. I agree where she says the consent, but it's in context. So if the child is at an age where they have had a relationship with the father, you can understand from a psychological standpoint the effect it can have on the child. Yes. You know what I mean? To know that this person you have called that for so many years, which then the blame is really on the mom. Yeah. Where if there were doubts, because the fact that the child is not the father's, she knew what she did.
Yeah.
She obviously knew what she did.
But
and around the time it happened.
But Ryan, so, may I ask you a question? What about financially, right? What if they find out that child is not yours after 18 years? Can you just sue her and just get back your money?
But as we know in Jamaica, how the courts favor the woman in these cases. So it's that if you say yes, they should. What's going to be the end of the outcome? That's the next question to ask.
But would you sue her?
Yes, that's sued. Yes.
She would need to be sued.
Check this. All right. But first question I want to ask, who will pay for this test?
The DNA?
Yeah.
When I went to did one, it was I, because I was the one who requested it.
No. Who will pay for it?
The man.
The man will pay for it?
90% of the time, I'm man. The man want to know.
I would say the person who would pay for it is the one who requested it.
But Chabi, what I'm saying that no one.
The paternity test.
The man is normal. The man requesting it. You
No,
ever
so
heard?
so
You ever hear a
so
woman going
this
to
thing no
family court asking for DNA testing?
no
Never.
but no that this thing no that they said it should be mandatory.
Oh,
You could
that
go,
part you're saying, the
yeah,
mandatory part. Maybe I don't know.
you
Maybe the government.
so the government, Jamaican government will pay for so much paternity test.
But
Oh
this is it, you know, Travi. If they did decide to pay for it, obviously the government will recoup some of that money somehow. And
and
also they could be looking at it as it could eventually save them a lot of money down the line as well.
maybe.
But
And
but
in terms of suing the female, when I check Jamaica, oh gosh man, you're gonna sue a female for 18 years of work. Probably the female never
No,
have it that. You know, so
You see,
and
you see,
but
you see,
this
you
is
see.
it,
This
See,
is
Travi.
you
it's
see
about
this.
the female.
You see, this is the problem.
Exactly,
You see, this is the
exactly.
problem we're
Yeah, the
having now.
point you
no,
made
but not
earlier, Jermaine.
This is the
no,
problem.
but not no,
No one
no,
is
don't get
saying,
me wrong, you know.
no one is
Don't get
saying,
me wrong.
Jesus, what about the man? You see it?
What
No,
about the
no,
man?
no,
Stick up in, stick up in. Hold on the Travi. Everyone, is thinking about 18 years, 18 years. What about when it's a situation like, let's use me for example. My daughter is now 10, right? So that's 10 years. Let's say, and for the 10 years, I've been the provider. So let's say 10 years, I'm going to say, all right, I need my daughter here with me in America and file papers and do all of this. And a 10-year-old, after building that bond and everything, it turns out that it's not my child, right? At 10, she's less equipped to handle that heartbreak than at 18. At 10, she's going to be more mentally distraught than at 18, right? Then when you look and you see the financial side of it, where for 10 years you were the provider, and then the money you wasted or the money you put up to try and, bring her here with you. What happened to the man? I agree. Why not? You should be able to sue the female.
It's just that Jamaica's culture, many men would not go that route, and that's where they're putting themselves as a disadvantage. Because you should be able to get back something.
I agree with
Because
you,
the
Ray.
court is quick. The court will be quick to say the man pay up X amount. Come to all the money I pay up where undeserved.
Child support
You
and them
should be
something.
exactly. It should be recouped in some way.
Hey,
You should be
no,
reimbursed.
No,
hey,
but
this
but
is the
I'm
thing,
looking at
Travi. It's not just in Jamaica, in America as well. The
yeah.
court is quick to say you need to pay child support,
All right,
garnish
no, I
your
don't
wages, and take back child support and all of this.
I
But
don't have a problem with the court, but this is what I have a problem with.
Mhm.
Whether the man side or the female side. Just look at this thing now. Because all right, in America, I know people struggle there as well. But in Jamaica, all right. If it is no, whether you pay a child support or what, if it is, you cannot pay that child support, what happened to you after that? If you can't pay it, what happened?
That will be up to the
where
judge.
All right. So what if the
in
female
America you're
cannot?
going to jail.
All right. So what if the female cannot pay you back after you sue her? What happened to her?
No,
To
I'm not.
pay you like
No, what
go on.
I'm saying, Chavi, if we exhaust all means, right? If this person have a job or thing like that, then fine. Some compensation should be paid towards man. Maybe you pay a fee every month towards that person. That's totally
Exactly, Jermaine.
understandable. But if it's a
What?
case where the person is not working now, then something would have to be done on that part, because what we would like to throw the person in a jail because she
So,
not working and can't pay the child support.
all right.
Can't pay the fee because of sore.
Never
I have
ask,
some what ifs.
never
Mhm.
ask Travi a question and then when me hear what Chada say. So Travi, why is it that if the man cannot pay it, he faces stiffer consequences than the female, right? Why can't it be, all right, this was your fault because you knowingly, gave this man a jacket. Why can't it be, all right, we're gonna garnish your wages. We're gonna do something, right? We should look at it as maybe if this was implemented, it would cut down on the jacket. Chad, you have a point there. I'm curious.
My views are somewhat mixed, because all right, you have to take into consideration. Case in point, say the female is not of a financial stability where she's financially stable and can manage, right? And you find out, say, boy, this child was not mine, and you say to yourself, we need to seek some remuneration. You have to remember to yourself that whatever decisions that the mother made and the father made before the child's birth had nothing to do with the child. But then now, when the child is of age or whatever, there are going to be decisions that the parents are going to make now. We have to deal with the child. And you have to remember, say, when you request the money there, say, all right, they want back X amount of money from the mother, by the hook or the crook. When the mother put herself through that strain to get the money there, obviously, indirectly, it will affect the child because probably she's not in a stable condition where she can take care of the child financially. And then you also say, because she do this and whatever, technically, revenge you are seeking, technically, and we request that some money.
Is that deemed as revenge when it's factual?
All right, because guess what I know? She do you something, you find out where she do, and then you do something to get back at her. Okay. That means you made a decision as an adult to engage in certain activities, and there's a result of the activity.
I know what I like to say. They make a decision as an adult, but she make a decision as an adult and went outside of the relationship.
Yeah. Well, no, so let me say. But
accountability has to come into play.
Exactly. That is why you have to say to yourself, say, no, you have to look at the situation as an adult. Even though she did what she shouldn't do, and she's strung you along, we understand that you're human. However, you have to say to yourself, say, this decision with me I make no say, boy, you want back something. Who it are going to affect? And in the long run, is it worth that you getting back all that money and it affecting the child? Say, boy, when you take that money, they no one put mommy under extra pressure. How me the child are going to survive now?
Probably let me jump in here.
Well, I know, where you the adult could have said, all right, then, what happened now? Let me just call it a day. You could, But as I said, here the problem now is, we as Jamaican men, we have this male ego. We think, say, boy, man, to tough up certain things and lower certain things and move on. So the majority of males now go on and say, you know what, want back some money, because guess what? It make you look or feel less of a man. And that's why
we need to change that mindset.
So jump in, Ryan, because I have a question.
The thing about that now is that what if, because Travis asked on what if. So let me ask this: what if, because I'm not even a what if. In most cases, this is definite. The man paying so much money to maintain this child for so many years. If he had not been doing that, what could his life have been? Have we ever thought about that? You know what I mean? What if, to taking care of this child, he has had to make a lot of sacrifices that set him back, but because of the love for the child, he's playing his part. Then to find out that this child is not his, to know that, wait, so for so many years, I am paying for a child that is not mine. I had so many dreams and goals to achieve. I wasn't able to do so. Come on, he has to get back something.
Orion is not even that. I'm talking about the mental state of the gentleman and find out the truth.
And that on top is most important. Imagine that.
Because technically, you're right. But technically, you rob the man a right of having a child right there. Why the man did say they don't have one child, and the one child when get him find out his jacket?
No, but so question.
But hold on the channel before your question. I agree with both Ryan and Jermaine because it adds up mental, emotional, and financial stress is going to be left on the man, right? And like I said, I know a case in point where when the gentleman found out that this child wasn't his, he had a heart attack and died.
So what about the one that find out and don't do anything about it? Just take it like a G or take it like a man.
That is not taking it as you see, that's again with society.
No, hold on.
1 minute no one man to speak, or the next minute no one man to take it as a G. Make up no mind.
No, but this is what I'm saying, Not everybody will have a heart attack. Not everybody will result to violence. Some will just know, say, all right, why I say it go, and some will resort to violence. Not saying what the female did was right, but this is what I'm looking at. I think we're going towards the money part too much. Because look,
No, but it play a part, Chavi.
No.
Financially, come on, man. Financially play a part.
no, but look at this now. You still can't blame the female fully because you have some man, when the baby born, you have some people say to them, say, yo, say, me no feel say that baby that year one because X and X. Oh,
All right, hold on,
I
hold
that-
on, hold on. That's
Right,
a different
So
topic.
if
for
a
next
man did
40
want to know say the baby a femme from day one, him could have go and do DNA test, but every man is say,
No, but
someone
Chavi,
like
but
certain
Chavi,
things.
how many
Hold on.
men are get up in the relationship and say, you know that deem offensive to your partner?
But-
Babes,
all right,
let me
So
go
that's
do
the
a
same,
DNA
the same thing with the female. The female
No.
always get up and say, yo,
Well,
child,
I'm
you know, say me
saying,
that have
I'm
sex with
saying
X,
that
Y,
government should make it mandatory after a child is born.
and
well,
who pay
well,
for
well,
it.
well, on the Pinto. All right, you see, this is where I'm saying a while ago in terms of that, it difficult for, all right, me like ice cream, and me say, yo, a jug and stout the thing there.
Yeah.
And when you taste the jug and stout, you say to me, say, nah, man, say this not taste good. You outsider, it can't tell me how it's supposed to taste, So if me in a relationship and me say to myself, say, no, and me alone I get this. You look on the outside, you can't go look on me and think because me I sit and I feel something different from what you see and feel.
Exactly.
So it's difficult for me, to believe you. Me say, me no know, me ain't no leader at night time. Me know what certain reason and we no share
but
certain emotions.
what I'm saying in the chat, the argument what Xavier talk about totally different because we are saying not many men in a relationship are get up and ask them partner for DNA testing because right there and then 100% you're gonna offend your partner.
And not to mention
100%.
in pride, or them feel themselves, say, boy, look what me can resort to.
The argument is that something should be done where we're not supposed to even ask that question. And that thing
And
is
that is bird.
and that thing is getting it tests after the child is born. Whoever got pay feet, whether it want to be the government or you pay off and the government it should be mandatory. You can't
like a subsidized program, Jeremy.
You can't have one out in every 5 is a jacket. That is total embarrassment.
But
You
you
know
want to
why I'm agree with that?
know what I would have suggest in terms of paying it. Let it be a process. Say Tom and Mary they're together, right? And if the only way would I request the paternity test be done before or when the child is being born, if throughout the pregnancy we feel like say boy something right, So it's like an application. Mr. Man would go and float and say boy, Ray, and him say XYZ.
No, but
and then
Chad, hold on the brain. On the flip side, of the thing is because at the end of the day, you see if a man know that the child is his, right? And you have that man in a database and thing like that, then mean that man definitely have to take care of his child now.
Exactly.
You can look on it at that. You can look on it from that angle because if they know said John Brown are the father and John Brown, this is John Brown DNA, this is where John Brown live, work, and everything like that. John Brown have to go step up and mind him child.
But even to add to that, Pinto, there's a reason for your TRN, Your TRN will indicate whether you're working or not or you have to pay tax. So if John Brown name the system say I work and I pay tax, John Brown can't say him can't support the child.
But in a mandatory child, you have no woman who still give birth and the man to come and sign the paper. So
no,
right.
But one at a time they did say the father name have to go up on it. So poor woman go put my name on it and me never even know this a woman. Oh, she can't tell me say me the father. So when I come with a father,
that is it, Chavi. That is it.
Chavi.
Exactly. You have a jacket and you have to pay fee.
No, hold on there. My daughter born, she about 4 months now, and I think where her mother said to me, say, in order for her get the first birth certificate, me would have to go or sign and put my name. So it's not like she could have just give them my name and she collect birth certificate. No, me the father have to go with my ID and say, boy, she said my name John Brown, so John Brown come out with him ID, and John Brown I say, yeah, I'm my child.
So your father not go, you can't get the birth everything.
That's what I said to me, say. So as quick as baby born and me have time, we just go and deal with me for deal.
So you know my solution to this thing now?
Before we move to the next topic.
I support. All right, I don't blame the females fully. Females because sometimes they don't know that is not. No, just hold on.
I do.
Sometimes
Exit the
sometimes
call.
the
Exit the
females
call.
don't know. And sometimes the men put themselves in a position as well to know that this female is not a out and right.
Fascinating.
Good female.
I find it's very strange. All this become a man issue. All this man.
No, that is the thing.
Chavi.
I'm not making an
Chavi.
issue.
I
I'm
can
just
see
saying,
what he's saying there,
Chavi.
I'm just
Jeremy.
saying,
Chavi.
you can't blame the female all the time,
Chavi.
because sometimes it's the same like
So Chavi,
some like
the female attack to Amazon and she step out and date eBay and get a different package and somehow Amazon are the problem.
Because
No.
guess what, Amazon know our history and Amazon still go do business
still
with
go
her.
there. Exactly.
And you know the history.
But Chavi, like what Ryan said, regardless of the history, you have to hold accountability for what you do. You can't say the female is not the issue right here.
All right, so suppose she didn't. Suppose she genuinely just never know, say.
Also, she genuinely just go sleep with somebody else than you.
But hold on.
Yeah.
All right. What if it's a thing where you know her history and she know your history, and you know, say, it's a chopping thing then. No, if it born, right, the baby born, why is it now your responsibility when I know your track record? Shouldn't it be like we are saying, clear, the government mandates it that as soon as this baby is born, somebody from your track record is identified as the father. Why should it be me?
Fuck Brian. When you keep saying the track record, and everything a man jumping at him know the track record.
No, I just based on Chavi question.
But Chavi make it look like say
exactly.
Every woman is Mozilla pack, so you can go into the history and see everything.
No.
Exactly.
In Chavi's defense, we don't Chavi. In your defense, I know what you talk about. Because sometimes in the inner city, enough time you have some females where they have been around the corner a few times. And a man know, but because she easy, him go there. And then him get joke. Get a jacket because she's continuous, she still go around the corner. You get for your piece, right? And then you should pick the child one because you were the latest one or closer to the latest
so
one.
In that case, you blame the man for that. You blame the man for that.
No, fully say blame the man, but you know how she stay still. So in Chavi's defense, but me not agree total with Chavi.
You know what? In my defense, you and Chavi are part of the society where the problem.
So Jeremy.
But Chavi, hold on. That's what I'm saying. You know she go around the block. Why is it that a youth for drop on another rightful owner?
But sometimes she don't know the rightful owner.
So no, that's why you know for drop on.
That's why I get the test.
Exactly. Right. That's why I get the test.
This is why I'm argue with the test. These are the only reason I argue with the test. You know why? It's if the government are gonna make this test mandatory, government have to stand 90% of the payment. Because you know why? Because when I check the jacket system in Jamaica, it is mostly when I this nobody, but I'm mostly the inner city and the person them don't have it as much like that. So when
Jamaica,
but you know, so the research shows that actually the middle class man them still like that.
Exactly.
So when you go tell a middle class man if you pay X and X money, because you tell him say him have to go pay it. When you ain't tell us say you want, I tell the middle class man if you go pay it. You the government where say the man supposed to do it, you stand half or more than half of the money. That me believe. Me not probably make it mandatory. But
what me suggest. When me suggest the government to do based on him proposing this legislation, let it not necessarily be mandatory, but if the man asks for it, them do it.
Now me say mandatory.
Me say mandatory. And you know why me say mandatory? Exactly.
Because Jeremy and Ego, we not gonna ask it. No man not a relationship.
Like Omega get up and say, is the child mine? Or can I break it up?
No, sir. If me have doubts, me I go ask.
No, but that's you have doubts. Me I go ask.
Me not ask. Every time I find out on the 3 months after, then we can recuperate and then do my thing.
What for me, at the bottom line for me is this. Me understand say the decision of saying leave it alone. It make it like you not pay attention to the man. The man is the important and they might take your opinion for all that. But me personally, I look on the old fact say if this becomes mandatory, domestic violence are going to increase significantly in terms of.
But what I'm saying, how does that contribute to domestic violence?
And it may have the opposite effect, where women now realize that, hey, them can't just play loose and fast.
Because I think
that is a benefit.
I think the whole domestic violence thing run deeper than jacket.
Exactly.
No, Pinto. No, we are not saying it's the only thing that causes domestic violence, but it is, research has shown that it's one of the highest rate.
And what are those numbers?
We don't know.
Nobody can tell me say the highest thing when nobody can show me numbers.
Pinto. Well, no, Pinto, you will not get numbers. I want to know why. There's no one doing an actual research to go around and collect the data to analyze it and get results.
Then in fairness, then we must not say that then.
Exactly. And what I know, Chad, if a man come around and I collect data, how many men or women are going to actually participate and be honest and say, yes, I can feel picnic is a jacket thing get.
All right, here we have to go do now, and it kind of get more mathematical and technical. You see, if you go and say 15 person, we know at least 3 out of the 15 are going to respond to you and give a true statement. And then you have to go do the math and say, all right, how much people in Jamaica? 3 point something. How much people end up interview? Why 1/4 of that? So you end up interview about 700,000 people. And out of the 700,000, and I say you have to do the maths and carry it down and carry it down and break it down.
Your answer got skewed.
And then, and you have to make that in the report. And then what you can say now, based on the report, that means 3/3 of Jamaica, them shy from that, it will become a taboo subject.
Well, you see, my final thought before we move on to the next topic. I don't really understand how it linked to domestic violence. I don't know if a man finds out the youth and a film and then I kill him woman will every day, every other day. So
exactly.
That.
It's like exactly what you're saying, right?
So you find out, say, this youth and your woman and your objective of just beat every day, so?
Exactly.
We have to move on.
Jeremy, that make no sense. I get that. Hey, Jeremy, if you find out that the youth are yours, what you do? You're not going to left.
So we are going to beat her.
And everybody are going to left. Some of the man them, every time he look on the youth, I know send a few one, it make him angry. And take it out on the woman or the picnic.
So why not just
what's going on the snipe?
But not everybody
just wait, no, snipe, to add to that, you know.
But my question is, hold on the chat. So how did that person find out that the child was not his without a DNA test? When do assume?
We don't know the sinner, but yes, even Travis said earlier, yes, someone just one man just said to him, yo, I think you have to one now.
So you see, run with that. So snipe. So you see, if you eliminate the assuming thing, do the DNA test mandatory. So nobody not assume.
All right, well, on Pinto, I'm gonna tell you what. I better run on my way. We not have to assume. You know why? The woman black like a charcoal. Him black like a charcoal and he head bad. We look on the child, him fear like me, I burn on me. And then the second child born look exactly like the man. So obviously we know the first one and of him. We don't have to ask.
I think we have an idea what we are talking about. Let's move into the next.
No confession. This is not a confession podcast.
But yes, I go on to add to a snipe that say, be in mind, what if a man in a relationship with that woman, say 3-4 years or whatever, and them a build together and invest all the time and energy they know. When him find out say the child not his, and for him to just get up and move on, government go say, boy, you can't leave you can't take yard, You have to leave your yard and your house because the woman have the child. And then you know the man have to go dust off yourself and start from scratch. You know, you don't know to process that, but for use anger,
That's our next topic. Our next topic where we should talk about mental health.
But Chad, look on this now. Mm-hmm. If you're there with a female for a certain period of time, they say you are
common law,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that female decides for what left you, that female are gonna take half done.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between the common law what left you and take half, and you finding out that listen, your idea of you and this woman building a solid relationship was flawed because this child is not yours. And you have to walk and left off because the government say you have to left off. What's the difference in that? At least you walk with a peace of mind.
True, it happen. And something we derive from creation and we make society dictate how we live. By nature, man is the provider. You know, you go out and provide by nature, not necessarily by choice. And technically, the man body is built and more robust to handle certain tasks. And they're saying no, it is easier for a man to walk from where my bill and start anew, as opposed to a female, because when she leaves, she can't say she left a child the man, and then when the child come out, she cannot deny say you're a child. There's no distinction with that. She have to work with say, my child. So it is harder for she now with the child to walk out and leave and start anew, as opposed to the man. It's less difficult. Him just brush off and start afresh, which is why society on a whole will say, all right, here, Mr. Man, you're more strong, you can't weather the storm. Make sure keep the ray, and you walk and go.
You see why
Unfair still, you know, but
see why I am totally for this new thing where you can go buy a baby now. You just cook him up in one lab. You don't have to worry about no jacket, you know. You want your baby.
But
No,
Jeremy,
them already have issue with that already. They mix up test tubes, so they still
right,
get
see
loose.
the jacket still around.
yeah, you go buy it
Jeremy,
straight like foreigner.
Yeah.
That's why I agree with you, you know, when you say nobody really cares about the meal.
No, we are iron.
Because you see it, in every scenario, the man have to walk and leave.
Yes, man.
Even when the man get the wrong, him still have to walk and leave.
But you have
So
to,
one for the man,
man
the man
dance
doing
upon
that.
Murray.
Remember, say a man set the law to, you know, so blame the
and
man
that
for the
alone,
man.
but well, I know, snipe, and that alone, you know, bear in mind, you know, the woman never dip on the roadside and say, come put a thing in me. A man a pursue her, you know. So technically, them not say anything when I'm after that, you pursue it unknowingly.
No, and all the time are you pursue.
Anyway, Brian, let's move into the
But,
next
you know,
topic.
Yeah,
Because
because that one you never done, because there's so many difference. But we need to know where the listeners them think. You think this should be made mandatory DNA testing once
Yeah.
a child is born?
Yep.
You know,
Before you even go up on the birth paper.
yeah, we want to know comment. You know, definitely comment and let us see.